excuse to grill some meat, an excuse to enjoy the sunshine. But these dates are very significant for us to recognize as more somber ones, especially with the current state of the world. The United States has always been founded on genocide, and it continues to live up to that legacy today. So for us, this is not a day of celebration, but a day of recognition, a day of mourning, and a day of anger. And with that, I would like to read a speech that is mostly Frederick Douglass's speech, because he gave a beautiful speech and he's one of the best writers in human history, on the 4th of July. So I'm going to just prop up my slide. Frederick Douglass was born a slave and he died a free man. He tricked his oppressors into teaching him literacy, understanding from a young age that knowledge was the privilege that separated his so-called masters from the people they subjugated. He also understood the role of physical force in liberation. As a teenager, he refused to refer to his own owner as master, so his owner leased him to Covey, a man known for breaking slaves, someone who would whip him raw, creating wounds over wounds for months, until one day Douglass fought back, writing, quote, "Mr. Covey seemed now to think he had me and could do what he pleased. But at this moment, from whence the spirit came I don't know, I resolved to fight, and suiting my action to the resolution, I seized Covey hard by the throat, and as I did so I rose. He held on to me and I to him. My resistance was so entirely unexpected that Covey seemed taken all aback. He trembled like a leaf. And that after that day, his oppressor never beat him again. After that day, when a 16-year-old black boy decided to beat his slave master and draw blood from him. And Douglass went on to become a central force for black liberation in the 1800s. On this exact day, back in 1852, he delivered a famous speech titled, "What to the Slave is the 4th of July." I'd like to read you an excerpt, and as you listen, think about how many of his words still apply today, some of them perhaps even more so. What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him, more than all other days in the year, the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity, your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless, your denunciations of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence, your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery, your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour. Go where you may, search where you will, roam through all the monarchies and despotisms of the old world, travel through South America, search out every abuse, and when you have found the last, lay your facts by the side of everyday practices of this nation, and you will say with me that for revolting barbarity and shameless hypocrisy, America reigns without a rival. Yet in conclusion, he wrote, this is a very long speech, so I'm just giving you the excerpt. His conclusion, he wrote, notwithstanding the dark picture I have this day presented of the state of the nation, I do not despair of this country. This man was born a slave, and he's saying that. He writes, there are forces in operation which must inevitably work the downfall of slavery. The arm of the Lord is not shortened, and the doom of slavery is certain, he wrote. Slavery ended 13 years after he delivered this address. He knew his people were destined for liberation from the white supremacist world order, and he lived to see that end of slavery. Although slavery lives on in new forms today, as many American prisons were literally built on plantations, the fight for freedom also lives on. After the Iraq War, or as Iraqis would call it, the American occupation, my relatives used to cry whenever they heard fireworks go off. Tonight we'll hear fireworks celebrating this imperialist nation as the people of Palestine hear the bombs funded by our taxes targeting their children. America's sins are Israel's sins, as Israel is little more than an extension of the Western Empire's cruel grip see it's only a matter of time. Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!